Hello and welcome. This is Typhoon Carter and welcome back to my FE8 Reverse Recruitment Eirika Route LTC. Today we bring to you Chapter 12. Chapter 12 is a continuation on Chapter 11 where we just jump right into a map with no real overworld preps. But first we need to promote Inez, who now becomes a ranger and will help us out a little bit with routing this map. Ranger gives 7 movement, which is helpful, and we also put that longbow to use again because there are some spiders on the mountains that we need him to reach. Since our flyers kind of have to be everywhere, we also give a skill book to Kyle and an energy ring to Natasha. The skill book is just to improve Kyle's shaky accuracy, while the energy ring is to help Natasha reach sufficient magic for later on. Unfortunately with this map, since it's a route, we kind of have to use Myrrh, who isn't too good now at this point, and the spiders being on a mountain, which gives a lot of avoid, kind of makes the chapter very shaky as far as hit rates go and reliability. As shown by Myrrh having 59 hit on this spider, which is meh at best. Now this chapter we have most of our flyers doing most of the work on the upper end of the map. However, the annoying thing with this map is that there are some stationary enemies which we have to get rid of, and we have to really go out our way to get to them, and there are also some reinforcement zones. Now, some of these reinforcement zones will just give us more enemies which we don't want. One of them which we avoid for basically the duration of this map until it's clear, since they show up at the end of the turn, not at the start of the turn, luckily. We also have Garcia, who is a pre-promoted warrior joining us. He won't really be doing much for us besides this map. He does come with a brave bow, which is nice. Now there isn't really all too much going on, although some of these gargoyles are for the most part not too threatening, although Kyle has somewhat of a hard time dealing with them. There was one of the reinforcement zones that we ended up triggering. This is just an opportunity for Garcia to get some kills. Luckily he has so much strength that he can kill some of these monsters who have a lot of speed, so it's very hard to double them. Amber had to rig another rapier stone crit, which is rather unfortunate, but we gotta do what we gotta do. Now, one of the side objectives on this map, which we will get to shortly, is that there is a barrier village, and that is very important for Natasha to work on her staff rank. And we have Inez kind of take a shot at this monster with his bow. Montana unfortunately has to crit this monster, who she doesn't quite kill. But those are one of the stationary enemies that I mentioned at the start. And then with Kyle, we can kind of just do whatever with him. And we have Cyrene grab said barrier house, Nari village, but we utilize the convoy trick so that we can get Natasha to start working towards getting warp rank, as she is probably our only real viable warp user that we can really get within the context of this playthrough. And And then we have Garrick do a little trade to give Enes a sword so that he isn't completely helpless on enemy phase. And then with Sally, we have him get rid of another one of the Buff Dukes. I think I pronounced that right, but... Anyways, no, we also have to work towards promotion. This is one of his chapters to get towards said promotion. With this enemy phase, it's a relatively straightforward enemy phase, since most of the enemies aren't too hard to one-round KO. Although the spiders are somewhat bulky, that someone like Tana needs like a turn or two to get this done. And Cormac here is going to have no problem taking care of these gargoyles. We are working him towards the northeastern part of the map because of the fact that there are some stationary enemies there, and one of them is relatively bulky. And also because of the enemies, only he can really take on cleanly in one round, as he's basically our main powerhouse at this point in the game. Tana thankfully will have no trouble killing these Mogos in one round with a Javelin. And then No on a Force luckily can take a hit, and I think that is probably the last of the reinforcement zones that we'll see, at least for the duration of this map, out of 2. And then unfortunately Tana has to take out these spiders with very shaky hit rates, and she has to land a bunch of them. Thankfully we get a crit on one of those spiders. But yeah, this map is just like really annoying to route because of the unreliability that goes into this. And then we have Enes take out one of the Gargos who has a Horse Slayer because that actually threatens his chances of survival. And we can afford to like have one Gargoyle not be attacking at one range. Or thankfully also crits that spider with a Rapier Stone, which really at this point is kind of just a necessity because we don't really have too many options to work with. While No gets some experience, and we are focused on getting Natasha towards A-rank staves, which she makes a good amount of progress during this duration of the map. Sally also joins in on the healing because we do need him to be able to use rescue eventually. And we have Tethys just dance for Natasha so that she can just keep barriering up some of her allies for more staff experience. And then since there aren't really any other like enemies who don't have one range besides the boss who doesn't quite reach Cyrene, we just have Cyrene and Cormac equip one range weapons. Tana thankfully has, over the course of 2 enemy phases and 2 turns, to kill those 2 spiders because it's a bit of a struggle since she has to land a bunch of like shaky like 44s and like 50s. These centaurs, for the most part, except for the boss, don't really pose too much of a threat. and Corpeg is basically getting near his caps and is just doing more of his usual thing of carrying this team for the entire run. Thankfully, Cyrene is fast enough to actually double. And then no getting hit by that cargo was kind of a good thing because that's just more chances for Sally to heal and get experience. While we have Garrick just finish this spider off. And for this last turn, we're mostly just cleaning up on some of these enemies. And we have Tana switch over to a Slim Lance because now she's in range to like kill both of these spiders for the upcoming enemy phase. And Slim Lance is our most reliable option of doing it. And then Mur doesn't really need to like kill for this turn, luckily. And we just have Inez and Kyle just finish the job on this side. Then we have Cormac attack one of the stationary enemies that I was talking about that doesn't move at all. And Cormac can just take on the spider and that gargoyle. However, Cyrene for this upcoming turn has to do something very annoying. We have to rig a critical in order to kill the boss, and we need to use a short spear to do it because she doesn't complete one round the spider that I speak of that's like right next to her without critting. As Cyrene just barely does enough to kill. And then the main boss of this chapter, Centaur, which I talked about earlier, has a bow as well, so he can do effective damage to Cyrene, but this isn't too much of an issue for Cyrene since she can actually take the hit, and she needs to land a somewhat shaky critical, as she does right here. And then we also get a halberd out of this. As chapter 12 cleared in 4 turns, I'll see you guys next time.